Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Anthony Joshua has taken to social media to explain himself and those actions that occurred post-fight after a split decision loss to Alexander Usyk in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. As we know, Joshua went on a bit of a tear with a lot of emotions on display, some bizarre behavior and actions, throwing belts down and making all sorts of weird comments, and it's really become a focal point for that fight. People are focusing on the wrong thing. It's overshadowed what was a really good performance in general by Joshua, but more so by Alexander Usyk, the champion, retaining his titles in that rematch. But Joshua obviously seeking, and I imagine there's been a lot of PR people involved trying to, let's say something, stem the bleeding. Let's not let this become something that continues for days and days on end, because it's been all over social media. It's been all over the media. And Joshua's statement on the issue is as follows. I wish Usyk continued success in your quest for greatness. You are a class act champ. Yesterday, I had to mentally take myself into a dark place to compete for the championship belts. I had two fights, one with Usyk and one with my emotions, and both got the best of me. I'll be the first to admit, I let myself down. I acted out of pure passion and emotion, and when not controlled, it ain't great. I love the sport so much, and I'll be better from this point on. Respect. So those are the words from Anthony Joshua, who really did go on a bit of a mad tear, and it was bizarre behavior. And actually, Alexander Usyk, through his promotional company, has actually posted some of the in-ring action that was recorded and sort of stuff he was saying to Vasily Lomachenko. I'm not sure why they did. They just sort of said here, AJ's emotions after the fight. But Joshua, obviously, reflecting on this, needed to say something. And as I said, coming out with a statement is going to sort of stem the tide in terms of speculation and people weighing in, waiting for Joshua. He's trying to sort of put a pin in it. Did the statement go far enough, though? Probably in some respects not, because if it was meant to be an apology, it really wasn't an apology, because he didn't say sorry to Usyk. He didn't, he's obviously, his actions have overshadowed, which were probably one of the best wins, if not the best win of Usyk's career, with so much on the line, and Usyk can now go on potentially to fight for undisputed. But for Joshua, there's a lot to take out of this, and I would say maybe he should actually take a break. He's alluding there that he was fighting with himself, and that the emotions got the best of him. He was in a dark place, fighting two fights, one against Usyk and one with his emotions, etc. I mean, you have to ask the question, is it right that he should be coming back by the end of the year? And there's always that question about, especially for boxers, when you consider that they take punches to the head for a living, and over time that can affect them and all that sort of stuff, and their behavior, their mental state, plenty of documented cases. Some boxers thrive on the activity, need the routine, need something to strive for, but others sometimes benefit from the time out, that they will be better for it. I mean, what camp does Joshua fit into? Should he actually just go, okay, well, given what's happened, I don't have any championship belts. I'm not in a fight next for a championship belt. Is it time to take some time for me? You have to ask that question. I think it's a valid question. I mean, I'm sure Eddie Hearn, would say, hey, we need to build back some confidence. We need to get Joshua back in the ring and all that sort of stuff. But he obviously has a close relationship with Joshua, having promoted him from the get-go in the pros. But Eddie Hearn is also a businessman. His interests with Joshua align as it concerns to Eddie Hearn. He will want Joshua on DAZN, on this new big deal that Joshua's signed, and he want him out often. And they've talked about, and this was post-fight, about Joshua being more active, especially now he doesn't have the belts. And I have a question, is that Eddie Hearn putting Joshua's interests to the forefront, especially the mad rant and bizarre behavior Joshua displayed after the fight. And even with this post, he's talking about, mentally, he was in a dark place. And not just fighting Usyk, but fighting his emotions. That kind of signals that everything's not tickety-boo. I know some people will say, oh, Joshua's fine, he just needs a few days or a few months and he'll be back on the horse, that sort of stuff. But maybe not. Maybe he needs some time out of the ring. Maybe actually take the rest of the year off. Don't think about boxing. Enjoy yourself. Remembering Joshua has been under an intense spotlight for years. Years and years and years and years. And that obviously has some of the pent-up emotions, frustration, anger, all sorts of other emotions have sort of bubbled up to the surface and overflown after that loss in the rematch. We saw it. He was unraveling in front of our eyes. I mean, some people will say maybe that is actually just the real Joshua, but that was beyond just the mask slipping, as people often like to say. That was a whole nother something else. So you have to wonder, do people in Joshua's camp that are sucking from the teat, taking money out of his pocket, and, rely on him as a big part of how they get paid, do they have his best interest at heart all the time? Legitimate question. But moving on, Daniel Dubois he's tried to reflect on that incident with Joshua after the fight and put it, from his perspective as a fighter who's also been in a high pressure situation where he lost.
He was frustrated, I think, and his emotions all over the place. And as a fighter, it's real, isn't it? It's raw. Boxing brings out all your emotions. When you're winning, it's great and everyone's happy. When it's not going your way, then it can happen. Guys can flip.
One of Joshua's sparring partners, Shokran Pawani, who was in Saudi Arabia, he was in the UK and Saudi Arabian legs of Joshua's camp. He's told people to rally around Joshua, though in particular his fans, saying a real supporter never changed his mind because somebody won or lost. If you do it like this, you was never a real supporter, you was just supporting the fame. Stay real, guys, and never forget life is a lesson, and never have a dirty heart against each other, and remind you all the time this life isn't forever. That's why stay real and God bless you all. Also going on to say in a full post on Instagram, no retreat, no surrender. You are a true champion inside and outside of the ring, champ. A true warrior with a big heart. And also Matty Harris, the British prospect, has come out and said, put some respect on this man's name. And making these comments, obviously, with all the criticism that is being levelled at Joshua. And I think rightly so. Some of what happened was pretty bizarre and not appropriate. It wasn't right. Even this post can be taken to be Joshua made it about himself and didn't really think about how his actions impacted on others. You could have said he should have apologized for Usyk for trying to overshadow his moment with, that outburst. But it is what it is. He's being advised on what to put up here, and I'm sure he had a big part in this statement. But I just hope he's okay. At the end of the day, with all these different fighters, some of them come out with bizarre stuff, Wilder, his mad rants, Tyson Fury lying all the time, Joshua. These are people at the end of the day. They're at the tip of the spear of the heavyweight division, which is one of the glamour divisions in all of boxing. There's a lot of spotlight, there's a lot of pressure, and a lot of baggage that comes with the fame. And sometimes it can be hard to handle that. And when you consider, what Joshua's been through in his career, what he's achieved, all the places that he's been and all the pressure that's been lumped on him and the expectation, he's done remarkably well to keep on the straight and narrow. Sometimes he's made some statements and there's been a few things that people have criticized him for, but this was a case where everything's caught up with them. So I hope the people that are around him are looking after his best interest and not just their own. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.